And welcome to Liquid Lunch, coming at you live. It's Thursday, June 14th, 2012, and it's me, Hugh, and I'm here. I got Dee and Issa orbiting the planet in a satellite. Dee, did you get your camera working? We had some problems. Houston was, how you doing?
Houston, everything is good, over and out.
Okay, that's great. Dee, so what's going on up there in cottage country?
Oh, let me tell you, it's just amazing. You guys got to come up. We'll do a show live from here.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, we can trade places one day.
Big barbecue, no stress.
Yeah,
all
awesome. Right. So we got a big show today, so we might as well get busy. We've got Rogers Zerra, the legendary Rogers Zerra. Let's get rid of that low hum. And we've got Carlos Morgan is here, a Juno Award winner. He's got a new album coming out this year. Two Juno Awards.
Woo!
No, two albums.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to get to that in a sec. We got Gibran and Tamson Lee also coming in, and Shawn Dalton will be here as well. It's Thursday,
right.
And we're live here on thatchannel.com, and we've got Carlos Morgan joining us at the table. Carlos, it's great to see you.
Great to see you. Great to see you too, Denise, through the TV.
Great to see you.
Look good. Man, I love the new studio. It looks beautiful. It's cozier.
Yeah,
and it's got a nice, warm, cozy feeling. I love it.
Well, thank you, Carlos.
Warm vibes.
Proud of you guys, man. I'm proud of y'all, really.
Well, it's great to have you on, and I can't remember the last time you were on. It was like a year or two ago, a couple years ago.
I think it probably was a year and a half ago, and I was I was on 2010. I was on 2010.
Yeah. Okay. And the time flies, eh?
Time flies. My goodness, just realizing.
I mean, I just realized your first album came out in 1997, right?
1997, yeah. And it was called Feeling Alright. Well, it is called Feeling Alright, and released initially independently, and then picked up by a major label, by Universal Canada. And 97, 98, and a bit of 99 were good years for me. Won a Juno Much Music Video Award, SoCan Music Award, and 2 Canadian Urban Music Awards and Caribbean Culture Committee Awards, and got some other awards along the way. And was touring across Canada twice, which was fun. So a lot of good things happened between 97 and 99, and then all hell broke loose after that. Like, what the hell's going on here?
What the heck happened there, Carlos? I mean, it wasn't you. It was the music industry.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Well, you know what? Yeah, the music industry for sure. But I also have. I'm also of the belief that what we give is what we get. What we put out, we receive. And that old, the life saying that life saying that what you reap what you sow, and so I had I wasn't sowing a lot of positive things at that time, or so I thought I was, but I think God said, you know what, there's some things you got to go through to make you better appreciate life and music.
God does that.
Yeah, God does that.
Everybody.
Yeah. So I went through a number of years where I had to go down into the pit, into the valley. Still was in the music, but wasn't. I was in a dark place for a few years. Yeah, I was in a dark place for a few years, but God is so good. Thank you, Lord. And I'm coming back out. I always thought that I was ready to come out a few years ago, but I wasn't ready. It wasn't the right time, but it's time now.
Well, let me ask you, because
have you come through it?
I've come through it, and I'm still working through some of it, but I've come through a lot, and I've learned a lot, not just about music, but also about the business of music, and with how the music industry has changed so drastically in the last 10 years. I'm building my own record label, and I'm also starting a clothing line, which I'm actually wearing a T-shirt from one of my. It's a very simple design. It has a meaning behind it.
Well, we're gonna have to ask you about that in a sec.
Show in a sec.
Yep, we'll do that. But
and just expanding, But music for me, thank you, Lord, is it's still my passion.
Okay, so let's explore this idea of you get what you put out, right? Because now, were you doing something particularly right before? Because your first album you know, how many people put out an album and nothing happens? I mean, you just got picked up, you toured the country, you won a Juno Award. Like, were you doing something right, or did you just?
I think at that time I was just in a really naive state of life, and I was really just about music. Like I was living, but when I turned, as soon as I turned 30, it was like, okay. It was like, and the day I turned 30, I was depressed. And
was that before you put the record out, or after?
That was before. No, well, no, after. So I put the album out, and then when I turned 30, it was like, I felt it the day I turned 30. I felt depressed, and so I think it was my soul or my spirit saying, okay, you're going to be going through some things in the next few years, so whether you're ready for it or not, it's coming. And I had to go through all of that to get to where I am now, and I'm so grateful. I don't have any regrets. At the time, I was regretting it. Now I look back in retrospect and no regrets. There is
Carlos,
yes?
Can you hear me, hon?
I hear you clearly.
Yep, we're good.
Okay, I just wanted to let you guys know there's just a little bit of feedback. I just wanted to make sure that the public isn't hearing it the way I am, so it could just be me.
No, they're
and
not.
I'll ride through it, no worries.
Yeah, Dee, if you're getting
so it sounds okay?
Yeah, if you're getting an echo, you might want to just close the that channel site. I don't know if that's the problem, but and then just hear us through the Skype. So it's all fine. I
just wanted to ask something to Carlos.
Yes.
I wanted to talk. Like I know what you're saying. You hit 30, and you have always just lifted up the spirits. I mean, no matter what I was going through, you and I have performed together, and I just think you're great. You're always funny.
Thank you.
And it's just a blast. Like it's no effort for you. You're just having fun.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. I love and I want to be a positive. I think everybody does, and most people do. They want to have a positive influence on people in life. And they want to, be a source of love and peace and positive energy and so I do, but I've gone through some times where I'm like, I hate everybody, stay away from me. But that's for a moment.
All right. So have you come through all that? Now you got the new album coming out, right?
I got a self-titled. Okay, so I'm coming out with 2 albums this year. The first one I'm releasing. I had a date, which was going to be next Tuesday, June 19th. June 19th, but I'm pushing the date back to July. I haven't picked the date yet because I'm still working out a few details. There's one song I got one more song that I'm working out the final details for. But the album will be coming out mid-July, and then I'm pursuing to do a CD release, my first CD release concert for the self-titled album Carlos Morgan for Friday, August 10th. So I'm going to ask if I can come back again to announce the official date of the release of the album, and give you guys a copy and ask for the support of Hugh and Denise and everybody, the whole team here at that radio.
You bet.
You always have our support, Carl.
Thank you. I love y'all, man. Love y'all, man.
We love you too.
So, I'm excited, and what this first self-titled album is compilations of songs that I've released in the past 10 years with a couple of brand new songs. So it's 10 songs and a couple one remix from my first album, a Juno. So I'm having some of the songs that were released 10 years ago remastered to sound fresh, and again some brand new songs, 10 songs, and then in October, I'm releasing my brand new album with brand new songs called We're Gonna Make It. Well, that's not, brand new songs.
So that's like an all new, the new Carlos, the newest stuff from Carlos Morgan coming out in October.
Yeah, but this compilation, or this CD compilation, which I'm calling it self-titled compilation, are songs that, like, I put out a single in 2008, but only in Toronto, and thank God through Facebook and other social media, I've been meeting a lot of new friends and people who are supporting my music and who are liking what I'm doing. So I decided, and I'm in Montreal almost every week performing up there. So
really? Wow.
I perform at a small cabaret theater called Le Balcon.
Yeah.
And it's in old Montreal.
Oh, awesome.
And I've been there since 2010. But last year, and up till now, I'm there almost every weekend. So I'm driving back and forth, or busing it, or taking the train back and forth.
You know, I get to Montreal every once in a while there, Carlos. So I'm gonna have to come and check you out.
Come through, man, because it's a nice little theater, and the owners, they're very young, and they're really being supportive of me. You know, the pay's well, so I ain't getting no love here in Toronto. So I'm going where the love is.
So how do you like that Montreal vibe?
No.
It's great. I used to live in Montreal.
Oh, you did?
I lived in Montreal in the early '90s. Almost died up there.
Why?
My lung collapsed while I was performing on stage at a little club in the back.
Carlos?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Well, I was born with a hole in my lung, and it was never detected.
Oh, really?
So when I was around 22, I'm on stage, I'm performing, I'm dancing, and all of a sudden, this excruciating pain hits my chest, and I keep going, and then the next, I pass out. They carry me off stage. I end up in the hospital the next morning. The doctor tells me, "Well, you had a pneumothorax." I'm like, "Okay, like I know what that is."
In English, what do you say?
So it says, "Well, he said you had a hole in your lung and it popped."
Yeah.
And I went into shock. I'm like, "Oh my God, what could this happen to me?" I started crying. I'm like, "Well, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do no drugs." He said, "Well, you know, you're born with a hole in your lung, and as you grew through the years, and I was like a bone rack. I was skinny. And I could eat, and not put on weight. So and between the ages of 15 and 16, I had a major growth spurt.
Yeah.
Like when I was 15, I was about 5'4", 5'5". Between 15 and 16, I grew to like 6'1", just like that. So my body didn't, or my lungs didn't, everything didn't adjust to the growth all at the same time. So then when I turned 22, and up to that point, I was having these little pangs of pain in my chest.
Oh yeah.
What's that? And I thought, okay, nothing. And then one day I'm doing the song by Johnny Gill, Rubbing It Right Way, and I'm working it, and all of a sudden, bang! This excruciating pain hits my chest. So I had to slow down. I take a step back. There's another singer in the band. She starts to sing. I'm still singing, and then I'm getting ready to sing my next song, and I'm gone. So
gee, that sounds like
that was in Montreal.
That sounds like the kind of thing that happens to Britney Spears, or you know, you read about that in like National Enquirer.
Yeah, I know. No, you know what? If I were to die, at least I died doing what I love.
Well, you didn't die.
Oh my
Carlos.
God.
Thank God. But if I did, at least it was like I did it doing what I love to do.
Okay, listen, we got some of your tracks here, and I'm not sure we're going to get to play all of them.
Okay.
But why don't we play one now?
Okay.
And we'll come back and we'll talk with you a bit more. But which one do you want to play right now? Give people a taste of what you're talking about.
Okay. Okay. Well, this song, if you got Hey O.T.O. up there.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
This song.
Oh, I love that one.
I released in 2008 or 2008.
Yeah.
And it didn't get any love, but I'm pushing it again, and it features Shockley, Richie Sosa, and Shy Wisdom, and I produced this with this incredible protege named Colin Monroe, who's been getting a lot of love the past few years himself, and yeah, so this is about the city of the T-Dot.
All right. Okay, let's do this and come back with Carlos Morgan, and let's just do the room shot when we do this. So, all right, Carlos, looking forward to hearing this. Let's roll it.
Roll it.
Be right back.
Hey, yo, Carlos, what's up, homie? It's so wait, baby. Carlos, what up? It's Mr. Chisnock in the spot. Mr. Sosa on the side. Count money's in the building. We're giving you something to feel in. Giving you something to believe in.
It's all for tonight. New gear and it's all fitting tight. Fresh kicks, yeah, they working right. I look good and I'm feeling nice. I feel like I feel like in my town, this is how we get down. Turn us up to your speakers, pop. In your drop top, don't stop, just let it rock. On the jump in the crib, I wanna hear rap where you live. All my ladies sing. I'm just getting at the club. I focus this shorty and I can't get enough. I'm checking her body and the way she be moving. Oh, I gotta see what this girl is about. I wanna get up close to see what sexy mama gon' do to me. Hey, yo, shorty on the real, and yeah, you know the deal. I want up inside that sex appeal. I'm gonna hit your drop top, don't stop, just let it know. In the crib, in the crib, where you live, where you at? All my ladies say, everybody say, to the old back to the sun, speakers pop. In your drop top, don't stop, just let it know. In the crib, we're in the crib, everybody, all my ladies say,
I'm in the mood to wanna get in the groove and have a good time, get my troubles off my mind. I'm in the mood to wanna get in the groove and have a good time, get my troubles off my
Hey yo, man, what up? Yo, T-Dot, what up? Yo, shots just stepped up, the stage got rocked up, the crowd put their hands up, T-Dot stand up. If someone tries run up, they rocked in their stomach. The loud mouth shut up. Yo, Carlos and Shots, we just teamed up. Sosa in the mean cut. We must bust quick like we're the cheap and put that flagpole up so they know from where they got rough.
To the Wild Wild Rex, North York to Lakeshore, just make sure you bless. The scene Tower City is no joke, it's like we stole exotic shorties from all over the globe. Caravan is the worst, it get out of control. From the chicks that blow a G just so they outfit match. To the ones perpetrating in the $5 flag. Standing on top of the globe, I rep the top of the map. See if
to the old back to the sun, speakers pop. Hey, OTO, in your drop top, don't stop, just let it knock. In the crib, where you live, where you live. Everybody say, come on. To the old back to the sun, speakers pop. In your drop top, in the crib, we don't stop. In the crib, where you at? Where you live, wanna hear ya. All my ladies say, come on. In your cars, in the Jeeps, in the crib, where my girls at, where my dogs at. We don't stop till we're in the dark. We don't stop when we're in the dark. We don't stop till we're in the dark. We don't stop when we're in the dark. We don't stop when we're in the dark. Yeah, all my ladies say, all the fellas say.
Carlos, so there's that song. Yeah, I've heard that song before. You played it either on the show here or you had it out a few years ago, right?
Yeah, I was getting support from Flow 93.5. They were the only radio station that was playing the song at the time.
Well, that's probably the most appropriate station in Toronto that would be playing it, right? But,
well, yeah, no, because I think because at the time, like, you know, Chem 104, and there were other major radio stations that were playing urban music, but again, dealing with the politics of Canadian independent, not signed to a major label, and not having a name producer on the record. So
what?
Because that's the excuse that I got. Because, for example, Chum 104, they were sent the song. They said they liked it, but they're not playing any urban music. So the guy that was doing radio promotions for me at the time, he said that's what he told me, and I said, well, that's a crock because they're playing Biggie Smalls, they're playing Akon, and they're playing Cardinal.
Yeah,
and so
right.
That's it. That's Cardinal, Akon, and Biggie. You're Carlos Morgan, so they're gonna play known names as opposed to.
But why? You know, I don't get it. First of all, you're the only Canadian on that list.
Well, Cardinal's Canadian too.
Sorry,
but he's got a name.
Right, but why do you have to have? I mean, you got a Juno Award.
Doesn't matter.
Right, you've had great success with your albums. I don't understand why the Canadian radio stations aren't supporting Canadian artists.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna break it down like this. Okay, they support Canadian artists, but and it's not as bad as it used to be, but it's still there. In my opinion, this is just my own personal opinion. When it comes to R&B, hip hop is really the only form of urban music that's getting any love. But when it comes to R&B or reggae or anything that's considered black music, it's not going to get love here in this country.
Is that just because people are listening to the hip hop more than anything else, or what do you think?
Well, hip hop is huge. You know, it's huge. Like, you know, go back to the mid to early 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s. How many R&B soul artists that were getting any kind of radio support or any kind of support in Canadian media at the time? And then hip hop comes in, you know, Maestro Fresh West and Michi Me open the door for hip hop, and it just gradually is grown. Now it's grown from Maestro. Now who's one of the biggest hip hop artists coming out of Canada? Drake.
Yeah.
So you went from Maestro to Michi to Shocklear, who got a major deal. Then you have Cardinal Official and Socrates, who was working with Redman and Method Man, who are two major hip hop artists. You know, it's just on and on and on and on. Then you got the R&B side. You got Deborah Cox, but she's gone to the U.S. Then you had Glenn Lewis. He went to the U.S. You know, I said I'm going to stay here and do it, which I should have taken off. I should have left. I should have stayed in New York when I was there, but I came back because, you know, I'm Canadian. I'm going to represent Canada, and there's a number of artists from Canada that's done the same thing. But you only go to a certain.
So even if you're in Canada, can you not get love south of the border?
And that's the other thing, because a lot of Canadian artists, including myself, had this problem. We do a record here, and then we go to the U.S. and they'll say we're not going to accept it because it's from Canada, and there's no American producers, songwriters on the record if the record was done here.
Yeah.
But if you go to America as a Canadian and work with Canadian songwriters, producers, etc., and you get love and you get noticed, being a Canadian, they'll accept you. But you can't do it from Canada going to America. You got to be in America to do it.
Okay. All right. Well,
but what I'm going to do with my records, I'm going to go over there and say, this is what I have. This is what I sound like. This is what I could do. Now, I'm just going to stay here, so if I can work with American songwriters, producers, etc., at least they'll be like, okay, well, he's got something out here, you know, whatever we could do with him and work with me, and right. And then the genre of R&B soul that I'm doing is not as big as it was. You know, now there's this pop, dance, urban stuff. R&B soul music is.
Can you do that kind of music though? Can you change the kind of music that you're coming out with, or do you want to?
Well,
you know, like adjust. Well,
I'm adjusting because the next album I'm doing some pop dance songs. So I'm going to open up with 4 or 5 pop dance songs. Cool. Then I'm going to go into the R&B, and then I'm going to end off with the gospel song that I wrote. So the next the We're Gonna Make It album is going to have about 17 songs. That's another one of my problems. I'll write and write and write and write. Yeah. And then when 3, 4, 5 years later, I got 50 songs. I'm like, okay, I could have put up 3 albums by now. Yeah. And, you know, so that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, Carlos, we don't have too much time left. We'd love to stay and chat all day, and we still got a couple minutes. But let's see your T-shirt. Let's just talk about that for a second here.
Look at that.
Just stand up just a bit. Just get on the screen there, Carlos. There it is. So that's your T-shirt line, your clothing line. Like, what the heck?
Okay, so it's called Inner Child Clothing. Got the I in this. Let me see what the. Okay, so what it is I call it Inner Child Designs, and I'm this is my initial design. I have one for women too.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I'm working with a designer who's helping me expand. It's like this is going to be the basis of it, but it's going to be expanded as well. So what the significance or the meaning of it is that I believe we all have an inner child, and a lot of, be it issues or things that we go through in life, affects us or comes from things that we went through as children. And so how we were reared or raised as children determines how we become as adults. And so one of the things that I had to go through in the past 10 years after, you know, in 99, when I started going through my experiences, was realizing that a lot of issues that I was struggling with, both personally and professionally, came from things I had not resolved or things I went through as a child that I needed to resolve. So I started identifying and saying, I have my inner child, my inner child, my inner child. So the C represents me, Carl, and that's my inner child's name, Carl, and the I represents the person within me. And then I
love it.
At the bottom.
I really love it. I want one, seriously.
Yeah, I got one. So yeah, I got for men and women. I'm just doing men and women right now. I got black right now.
What comes after that?
You just help me one, man. So yeah, and I'm really excited about it. So you know, and my sister, she's also a designer. She graduated from George Brown with a design, with honors in design. So she's helping me as well. We're going to be working together. So this is, and you see, you can't just sell music anymore.
Yeah.
You got to have something else. So
Absolutely.
that's why I thought, okay, let me create something. Why don't I just create, my own designs and. And so when I do my shows, I'm gonna sell CDs and merchandise, and because you just can't say, music doesn't sell on its own anymore. You got to have something else along with it.
Absolutely.
Inner child is huge. That could go everywhere. I love
everywhere.
it. That's so amazing. Yes.
Everywhere.
You got it.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. All right, Carlos. Well, we're just about out of time here.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts you want to leave people with?
Yes, please. On Friday, August 10th, I'm doing my first CD release concert for my self-titled album, Carlos Morgan. The location will be announced in the next 2 weeks. If you want to reach me, you can reach me on Facebook.com, Carlos Morgan, or Twitter.com/Carlos Morgan or Carlos Morgan Music. If you want to reach me by email, it's carlosmorganmusic@hotmail.com. Send me a message, reach out to me. Share your thoughts with me about music, life. If you like what I'm doing, if you don't like what I'm doing, I appreciate every comment. Positive, negative, because it's all about growing in this business. And I'm still learning a lot myself. So I've been doing it for quite a while. So again, August 10th is my CD release concert, and I hope everybody that's listening will come out. And I'll be announcing the date or the place officially in a couple weeks. And please support my music. God loves you, and I love you all too.
All right, Carlos. Great to see you.
You too.
We look forward to having you when you would come back to announce the next album.
That's
we're looking
right.
forward to that as well.
Yes, thank you.
And we're going to go with the track. You want to set this track up for us?
Yeah, this track is called Sweet As You Are. Now, this track I wrote when I was on tour for my first album, and I was in a relationship at the time, and when I was traveling a lot, it was affecting my relationship. Mm-hmm. But as difficult as it was, my partner at the time was really, really supportive. She was like, I don't know if I can handle you being away in this music thing and all the attention you're getting. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I could deal with it. So I wrote this song in honor of her. We're not together anymore, but I still love you, baby. I'm bugging. But yeah, so I hope everybody enjoys it. I wrote it with a guy named Mishka Butler, who's gone on to write for Michael Jackson, rest in peace, Brother Mike. Britney Spears, a number of major artists. He's back in LA, so we wrote the song together and I produced it. So I hope everyone likes it.
Okay, Carlos, thanks for coming in. Great to see you again.
Thank you, Hugh. Thank you, Denise.
Here's the
and
track.
keep supporting that radio.
Woo!
Word up.
And we're going to come back with Rogers Zerra right after this. Like the lunch continues.
it's so special. I know I've been heaven blessed. You're my angel from above. And I live for your love. I can be all you want in me. I'll be the wings of your fantasy. And whatever that you need, you could ask of me. I will try. I'm gonna give you all that's in my life. I'll wipe away the tears from your eyes. You're forever in my heart. So please stay sweet as you are. Baby, it hurts me when I'm out here without you. And I know you cry for me, 'cause I feel it. 'Cause I cry for you, I cry for you. One thing you don't have to fear, I'm not gonna leave you. Don't you worry, baby, 'cause I love you. I love you. I can give me all you want in me. All you want in me now. I'll be the wings of your fantasy. And whatever that you need, all that you need, you could ask of me. I will try to give you all that's in my life. I'll wipe away the tears from your eyes. I'll wipe them away forever in my heart. So stay sweet as you are. All you want in me. All you want in me, pretty baby. The wings of your fantasy. It's all for you. And whatever that you need, I know I can be. You could ask of me. I will try to give you all that's in my life. Everything that's in my life. I'll wipe away the tears from your eyes. You're forever in my heart. So please stay sweet as you are. Stay sweet as you are.
When I first met you, baby, you're 19. 19. I thought you were poised. When I first met you, darling, you're 19. I thought you were poised. I knew then and there, it'd still be on my mind. To my eyes are closed. You were so young, so young, and tender to touch. Honey, you were so young, and tender to touch. I soon found out I wouldn't be the only fool to love you so much. When morning broke, there was a knock on your door. Some crazed man spoke, yelling, "I still love you, sugar, that's for sure. Just open up, and let me in." The way you treat your sweet, sweet daddy is a doggone sin. Later she told me, you have a way about you. I don't want nobody but you. You know that's true. I just didn't want to be that man though. I just didn't want to be that man though. Yelling, "I still love you, sugar." You know, that's for sure. Time went by. was less composed. You know, time went by. You ran around, and I was less composed. I knew then and there, you'd still be on my mind. Till my eyes are closed. Young women try this and that. Want everything in life. Young women try this and that. Want everything in life. You know they're just ready to ask you some fools. Strife. When I first met you, baby, you're 19. Thought you were poised. When I first met you, darling, you're 19 and thought you were poised. I knew then and there you'd still be on my mind. Till my eyes are closed.
Welcome back to Liquid Lunch. There was Rogers Zerra, and Roger, great to have you on the show here. And
it's a pleasure being here.
No, that I understand that song is based on a true story that
somewhat
that was just one of the many experiences that you've gone through, right?
One of the many few. But no, it was that was when I was in my mid-20s, and I met a young lady who was 19, just short of being 2 months short of being 20, and things happened, you know.
Did they happen?
Oh, they happened.
Because I know what you mean. Because I remember when I was about that age, mid-20s, I had a similar thing happen, and
so you
it
could
seems,
you could identify with
but
that.
5 or 6 years when you're 25, means a lot more than 5 or 6 years when you're 55.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So you might as well make it happen.
Absolutely. Anyway, I'm a storyteller. What can I tell you? I don't know if you have the piece, the review I gave you from Spain somewhere.
I do have it somewhere. Yes. Do you want me to read that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. This one?
Yeah. No, the other one.
Okay. This is what. Who said this? Where is this? In Spain?
In Spain.
Yeah.
And the worldwide blues musicians send out their music to Spain, to La Hora del Blues for reviews. They don't review every one of them, and they're not always kind when they review, but they were nice to me. For a guy that started writing about 14 years ago, and this is for, they reviewed my CD. It feels like blues. No, listen. Feels like blues to me.
You got a lot of albums. I can understand why you might have trouble remembering them all.
But it was nice if
Well, let me read this out here. So this is from the Spanish blues magazine. From Canada, folk singer Rogers Zerra delights us with his particular reading vision of blues that sometimes reminds Bob Dylan, or in other passages Lou Reed, in the way he presents his project, where lyrics prevail over the musical conception. Feels like blues to me reflects the personal, intimistic thoughts of a poet who looks for self-introspection, but at the same time communication and complicity with the audience, developing a calm, hopeful musical speech, giving music to his thoughts on a hypnotic, personal, bluesy way. With his new CD, Zuraw has done a step forward and become a new storyteller of sometimes simple and sometimes difficult, but always marvelous daily life.
There you go.
Not too bad, Roger.
That was nice.
Yeah.
That was nice. I loved it, so with that in mind, and my new CD, which I just recorded. Well, I recorded 4 years ago. Released now because I couldn't get enough money for the artwork, and I've done it through my pal Gary 17. I used one of his photos
for the cover and through the art.
You had to pay Gary 17 for that photo?
No, that's a good photo though. I would have paid him. Gary's a great guy, and my friends where I get my CDs, duplicated can clone on Lakeshore in Long Branch. Jim did the artwork on it, the touch-ups and whatnot. Did a wonderful job, and they've been selling it like hotcakes. As soon as I present one to somebody, they want one.
Well, Roger, I know I don't have one with me. I know you brought it here. If you got it, bring it out, and I'll hold it up so people can see what to look for.
Open it up.
Is this it? Is this the artwork you're talking about?
Yeah.
That you had to save up for? Ooh, there it is, folks.
And look inside. There's it's all spread out.
This is like a major concept album. You know, if this was vinyl, Roger, you know, they'd have to cut trees down to deal with this.
Oi.
Who did the artwork?
Yeah, who did the artwork?
Jim McNeil over at Can Clone.
What was it manufactured?
We should get Carlos.
It's
Carlos,
Can-
come on over to the
Can
chair.
Clone.
Come on in the chair
Yeah,
and
Can Clone.
participate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and just get that mic going. And this is spontaneous internet TV here, people.
Spontaneous internet rattle.
Okay, how's that going? Oh, there we go.
Can you see me?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So Roger. So did you do these Gary 17 jams?
Open mics for quite a few years now, and he also. And so with that, bearing that in mind, all my blues stuff, and I've been a member of Toronto Blues Society now for a long time, I think over 10 years, and at least they have an annual Toronto Blues Society talent search. So this year I decided to submit my blues stuff to them. So hopefully they'll have me play at Nathan Phillips Square as one of the contestants. That'll be a treat.
That's a pretty good place to play.
I played there last year, by the way, and it was fun.
So you've already broke the ice?
Broke the ice, but I'd like to be one of the contestants for Toronto Blues Society.
All right.
Roger!
Yes,
Roger, what are
Dave.
they looking for? A talent search? Is that what you said?
Talent search at Toronto Blues for the Toronto Blues Society.
Okay. And
It's
when
an
is it taking place?
It's taking place in August, but I think they're making. I submitted my stuff, I guess, at the end of May, and they will be deciding as to, I think, on the number of participants in the final at Nathan Phillips Square in August.
Okay. Exciting.
Yeah, not bad for an old geezer. That's close
You
to
never
the.
finished your story, Roger. You met this beautiful woman, and
She
she
was
was
gorgeous.
almost 20.
Yeah.
What happened? What's the rest of the story?
Well, listen, you know, you can download that song on iTunes. It's called "Young Women."
Oh.
Means Young Women Blues.
Good one.
It's all there, and yeah.
Kind of reminds me of Carlos's story. Go ahead,
Did you
Carlos.
did you stay in touch with her?
No, we were together for about 2.5, 3 years,
Okay.
but it just didn't work out.
That doesn't mean you can't write a song about it, though, right?
That's right.
Roger?
It was
you
a
go.
wonderful experience.
Does she
indeed.
know about the fact that she's had a song written about her?
Probably not.
Look at that. There you go. There's a reason to get back in touch. Now,
I wish her well. It was you just there are things that happen in life that we can't control, and and
well, speaking of which,
yes.
I guess one of the things that you've been through since the last time you were on the show, you had a bit of a health scare. Do you want?
Oh yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I had a very high PSA count, and normally
What's that? We don't know what that is.
For my prostate,
Okay.
and being of that age now, I guess it's common for some old geezers like me to go through that. But it was because when PSA count is 4, they suggest you have a biopsy, and mine was 13.
Oh my.
So and I was resigned. I was near the. I guess I discovered that in January they had the problem, but it preceded probably from November on, and but I guess by April May I was starting to feeling good, and I had the biopsy in May, and they called me several Fridays ago saying, "Don't worry, it's not cancer."
What was it?
This should come back in 6 months. We'll do a follow-up. So
Was it gas?
it was
It's always gas,
It's
isn't
always
it, Carlos?
gas. That's what they say. Oh, it was just gas.
it wasn't that, but I'm supposed to go for a follow-up with the doctor in 6 months. But prior to that, I'm gonna go and see the doctor just to get more details on it. But it's a, you know, it's a load off my mind, and you know, and when something like that happens. But as I said, I've been resigned to the fact, you know, getting older now, and things
You're still
happen.
young.
I don't know, man. It's like tough. Like I'm just dealing with my dad about some stuff. In fact, I went down yesterday to accompany him to the doctor, right, getting some tests back, and it's like it's almost like it's really tough. It's finally one day you get the message, really get it hard about your mortality,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
right? And
Exactly.
I can't say that I've even been through that, and to see my dad going through that, I mean, it's I guess we all have to go through that
Exactly.
at some
We
period,
all have
right?
to face it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so scary. Like, I mean, just what you're saying, Hugh, I've been through things like that myself, for others. But Roger, like, I mean, were you scared leading up? You're waiting for these results. And how
was.
did you bounce back? And just into your music?
Well, the music, you know, I guess from about April on, I started feeling much better and more of a positive outlook. And I was also at that point resigned to the fact, should it be the case, let's deal with it the best way possible, and rather than why me type of thing, you know, and that's what gave me peace. I was resigned to whatever and go and deal with it as best as I could under these whatever conditions they may have been. But anyway, I'm doing fine now. I'm playing music
That's
all
great.
all over, and I have some gigs that are happening, and I'm going to open mics, some of my favorite ones.
Oh, very cool.
So where are you playing these days? And I know you got you got how many records do you have? Like 12?
I don't even know. I have about 70 songs recorded. I've written over 100, I believe, and a lot of them are blues, because what I've done with my blues stuff on my CDs, normally I record an album and I have 3 or 4 blues tunes on it. So after doing about 5 or 6 of them, I said, hey, listen, you know, let's zero in on a specific market. So I did a compilation blues CD, sent them off to Laurel Blues. Don't have a lot of money, so I couldn't send them off to too many places, but where I sent them out, there were positive results, like those reviews that I got from Laurel Del Blues, Vicente Zumo, very nice fellow, very supportive of blues throughout the world, not just the States and Canada and Spain, but all over the world. He does a wonderful job. As I said, Canadian blues guys send the stuff up to him, so you get validation and some credit for the work they do. And I've been fortunate with my music that I deal with a fellow that's not known for his blues playing and arranging and all that sort of thing, because my music is not what one would consider a mainstream blues, and that's what I do, and not necessarily strive for, but that's what's in me to do. I found somebody who could work with me that way, so I'm very happy and was very successful with working out like Alex Rada, who plays electric guitar, bass, and keyboards on my stuff. So
Yeah.
it gives
Do we have any Rod tunes there? I really want to hear some.
Well, okay. You want to hear one more? Let's hear one now. We got 3 altogether, right?
Yeah.
Roger? So let's play one now, and we'll come back and.
we'll bring back memories.
Yeah, these are the memories.
All right,
Which one is
Roger.
this?
Well, you know, everybody's had this experience. It's called Headboard Boogie.
Headboard
I don't know about
Boogie.
that. I don't know about everyone,
Headboard
Roger, but
Boogie.
obviously you have.
No,
All right. I like the name too.
Moon may glow, the sun may shine. We're gonna boogie till you're all mine. It's the headboard headboard boogie, headboard boogie. We're gonna boogie till the cows come home. The rain may fall, the wind may blow, the way you boogie, it's never time to go. It's the headboard boogie, headboard boogie. We're gonna boogie till the cows come home. When you move so right. We're gonna boogie all through the night. It's the headboard boogie, headboard boogie. We're gonna boogie till the cows come home. Go, Alex. It's a headboard boogie, headboard boogie. We're gonna boogie till the cows come home. I think you're fine, you think I'm that way too. We're gonna boogie all night through. It's a headboard boogie, headboard boogie. We're gonna boogie till the cows come home. Headboard boogie, headboard boogie. We're gonna boogie till the cows come home.
All right, we're back.
You should have
here
had a deep
on the
voice
show.
there doing the Barry White headboard boogie.
Yeah, we need to do a remix with Roger there, Carlos.
You could do a cover of that.
Right on.
Headboard boogie
Maybe you
part 2.
should do some hip hop. Get Chuck Claire in there too. Hey?
I love
You
it.
get the boogie boogie. You wanna
Carlos, do a cover of that.
do a cover of Headboard
All
Boogie?
right.
Okay, I'll have to do the Barry White version though. Have a
That would be cool.
It's the Headboard Boogie, baby.
Yeah, you do that Barry White thing pretty good there, Carlos.
He does.
Hey, we were just talking about. Okay, we're gonna play one more song, Roger.
Yep.
Before we do
right.
that, we're gonna talk about some of the shows you're doing and stuff like that. But we got talking during the song about how the Real Jerk is closing and
It's closed. I believe it's
What?
Is it closed
because they're
already?
right. I don't know because they're in my neighborhood. I saw people like there very recently.
Okay, maybe
Unless it
maybe it's
closed
just
last
not
week or
maybe
something.
it's
Don't
just
tell me
not
that.
or something.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. What's the story with that?
Well,
And that
how
kinda
it
leads us-
affects the next song that we're going to play?
Yeah.
Well, last year I was hired by a young lady at City Hall to play at City Hall for Fresh Wednesdays, and I decided to thank her this year and see about the possibilities of getting aboard sometime this year, whether it be in the fall, because I have seasonal and topical songs and songs about Toronto, that type of thing. Anyway, so we talked, and she said, well, why don't you write some new stuff? And you have some great stuff, and let's see what you can come up with. And she started alluding to about the Rio Jerk closing down. Maybe we could write something about that. And so that got me thinking about my old days of all the venues I used to frequent, like the Pick and Chicken in Mimico, which after the papers were signed became condos. My first illegal drink in the West End of Toronto, where I went for my draft beer on a Saturday afternoon in the men's area of the hotel, because I forget what it's called now. I'm getting old, but I was tutored how to order, and that became that hotel, Cloverleaf Hotel, became townhouses now, and the Islington House, where people gathered for over a century. Maybe even 2 centuries for all I know, but it was close by where Gord Sinclair used to live.
Oh.
Gord would be seen there, as with my pal Al from Ford would hang out there from time to time. I used to go there. They made some great cheese and onion sandwiches and a lot of the great draft beer that was in there. So I enjoyed that. But you know, the thing that really, they were all good things, but the thing that the rest of you may identify with that are of a certain age, even if you're not, you've probably heard it from your the elders, from your family or your cousins or your friends, is the Colonial Tavern where I went to see Ross on Roland Kirk, Thelonious Monk, Muddy Waters, bunch of other people there. Jimmy Smith was great, and the papers were signed, and it became Parquet, for God's sake.
Well,
you know, that was one of the monumental historic places in jazz in North America. Why is that torn down?
And that's just 5 minutes walk from here across from the Eaton Centre, right?
Yeah, Parquet.
And it seems to me Toronto hasn't really done a great job of protecting its historical sites and architecture and stuff like that.
The other two places were favorites of mine, but you know, the Islington House could have been protected because it was not a meeting place for people in Toronto, outskirts of Toronto back then. They all gathered close to Montgomery End there at Islington. But anyway, so just by talking to that young lady from Ms. Emery, I'm getting old. I can't think of her first name. That inspired me to write that song. I love that tune, you know. And it's on my new EP that's about to be released, the Trifecta.
It's only got 3 songs on it. Oh yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with that, Roger. It's fine to release 3 songs at a time.
Where do you record your music? What do you record?
I record with my Donkey Studio. My good friend Alex Radoff. Not only is he producer and all that, but I take my stuff to get mastered to Albert McDonald, who does a great job, and you know, and great job. I've been dealing with those people from the outset, yeah.
All right. Well, we look forward to this, Roger. Now, thanks for coming in. Now, where can people get and stay in touch with you?
Reverb Nation.
Yeah.
You could check that out.
ReverbNation.com/Rogers Zerra. I checked it out.
Yeah,
that's it for sure. And you're doing the Shop the Shore this summer, right?
Again, 4th or 5th year, I forget exactly.
Yeah, down at the Lakeshore.
On Lakeshore, at 2 locations. Yeah. One in New Toronto, which is at Islington.
Yep.
And Lakeshore, and one in Long Branch.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I love that area.
I love that neighborhood too. It's awesome.
Too.
Yeah. Okay, Roger. Great to have you on. We're gonna get you back soon.
Roger.
And bring some cookies. But don't forget next time, raisins. Not chocolate.
Remind me when we talk on the phone. I'm gonna try.
Okay. Can I come too when he comes back?
We'll have to get Carlos back that day too.
Hey, Carlos, do a cover for Headboard Boogie. I'll hold you to it.
And get Chuck Claren on it. Okay. All right. Okay. Here's Roger Zerra. Roger, thanks again. We're gonna come back, go with Gibran and Tamson Lee as the launch continues right after this.
Right on.
By the lake in Mimico, where patrons gathered, dined and fed it. From as far as Buffalo, we had character, and we had fun. All the character, all the fun, until the papers were signed, and the deal, it was done. Then your first public drink was squawked at the Cloverleaf Hotel. Drop for Harry and have one yourself. As I ordered and I prayed, no one would tell. We had character and we had fun. All the character and all the fun until the papers were signed. And the deal, it was done. century they came to the Islington House, the famous eye, where you'd have the likes of Rochester Gord. Well, my pal Alfred Ford to look in the eye with character and with fun. All the character, all the fun. Until the papers were signed and the deal, it was done. Out on Young Street at the Colonial Tavern, you'd hear Thelonious Monk, Muddy Waters, Jimmy Smith, Ross and Roland Kirk. The finest was their bread and butter. We had character, and we had fun. All the character, all the fun. Until the papers were signed, and the deal, it was done. Listen, enjoy your favorite venue, because the businessman may find his location strong. You have plans and figures dancing in his head, and you won't be there very long. You'll be singing, we had character, and we had fun. All the character, all the fun. Until the papers were signed, and the deal, it was done.
All the color and all the flowers, all the madness and the glory hours, you shine, you shine, the brightest in my dream. Of all the shades and all the shadows, smoke and mirrors and all the magic, you shine, you shine, the brightest in my dream. The brightest in my dream. And I don't feel like I could ever stop dreaming, whether my eyes are closed or open wide. You're the brightest thing in my life. Of all the stars in the endless sky, all the different plots and storylines, you shine, you shine, the brightest in my dream, the brightest in my dream.
We're back here on Liquid Lunch, and that's the first track we're going to hear today from Gibran and Tamson Lee. We got them both here at the studio here, and great to have you guys on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us, Denise. Yeah.
You bet. Love that song we just heard. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, well, what's the story with you guys? You go. Is that the name of your act, Gibran and Tamson Lee, or?
Yeah.
Because I said there was an AKA in there somewhere.
AKA
right?
The Brightest is the name of the song that just played.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Actually, Gibran, you want to just bring your mic a little bit closer? We want to make sure we're hearing what you're doing here. But now we got 2 tracks today that you sent us over. Are these part of a CD that you have out, or?
We haven't finished it yet. It's just we're on the 3rd track right now.
Okay.
And can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's we have a project coming up. It's called the Steam Project, is what we've titled the album. It's called Steam, and we're on track number 3. It's called Fingertips. It's not released yet. We released AKA The Brightest as a soft single, online and iTunes and all that. And Naked, which is another song which I'm sure we'll hear later on, is the 2nd single on the record.
Yeah. We're trying to use the 3 songs to get a grant. We're applying for a grant to finish the whole record. For example, on Naked, there's a horn section on Naked, and it's a programmed horn section.
What do you mean it's not real horns?
No.
It's real, like it's Logic horns.
Oh, okay.
It's we had this bass line on the track, and we just had our engineer just layer it with horns,
Yeah.
Programmed horns, But we want to bring in real musicians, but we can really afford a horn section. So that's why we're applying for the grant to sort of work with more real musicians. The first track, aka The Brightest, though, we managed to hire Mr. John T. Davis to play organ on it.
Yeah.
And,
that was exciting.
Yeah.
I know John. John T. He's been on the show before.
Yeah. We can call him Mr. Jones.
He's such a good soul. He's a nice man.
Yeah.
Very down to earth.
Because we met him when we were working on the track. We recorded at Terra Music, and we were just walking down the street. We took a break, went for a drink, and she was just singing at the stoplights. And he's like, "Oh man, that sound good." It's he would say stuff like, "It's sunny tonight," And so then we started talking to him. We're like, "Yeah, we're recording this song," And he's like,
"We just so happened to be looking for an organist."
Oh, really?
And he approached us. I was singing at the traffic light across the street, and he just kind
showed
of
up.
Reached
like
out and said,
That's
musicians.
amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
So everything.
I'm glad
working out.
I'm glad you remembered us, Denise.
You bet. I couldn't forget you.
Well, how did you guys meet?
Well, I met her at a Harlem restaurant, Harlem East Side. We were playing a show there, and it was like maybe 2 years ago, or was it a year?
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
time flies.
Yeah.
It was great times. Definitely going to be back there.
Right on.
We're actually going to be there again August 4th at Harlem.
Nice.
Yeah. And August 5th, we're playing the Irie Fest at Dundas Square.
Okay.
So that's gonna be
Oh,
exciting.
great.
All right.
Do you guys record with a live band, or you play with a live band?
Well, I'm a multi-instrumentalist, so I play in the studio. I play most of the instruments.
Okay.
And right now, we're using because of budget and stuff like that. We're using my producer. He programs the drums. But nothing happens without us. We're nothing happens without us.
saying it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, we kind of have very.
The relationship we have with our producer right now, his name is Jeff D. Elliott. It's probably the best experience I've had with a producer ever.
Yeah, he's been my drummer for some time, and I didn't know he had all these other amazing gifts. He's a producer and he's also an artist, but he's more so interested in the producing.
Engineering.
He just finished Terra Music. He was going to school there to study more about engineering, right? And he just finished, and the three of us in the studio together is amazing. It's like, the whole thing about having more than one chefs in the kitchen kind of spoils the food, but not in this case. It's three chefs, and it's delicious.
That's great.
Yeah.
Everyone just adds a little spice here and there.
Yeah, we all have different aspects to like which part of the cooking we're gonna do, she's trained vocalist, so she deals more with the harmonies and stuff. So I'm learning a lot about harmonies and that, right? And and I deal more with sort of the foundation and sort of the groove and the, what would you say, like.
I'm learning a lot about instrumentation on a track. You know, my background has come from like the hip hop R&B scene. You know, I used to feature on a lot of rap artists' tracks, so I just know an already produced beat. You know, that's how I get it. Oh, I like it. I don't. I vibe. I feel it. I'll write something. Now it's he taught me how to play guitar, so I can compose my own creations, and to see it start from the ground up, and I'll say, oh, I want a little shaker in here, you know, add a horn section. It's incredible to work with.
That almost seems like it just seems to make more sense that you are writing the lyrics, the melody, along with, at the same time that you're coming up with the beats or the music, right? Otherwise, it's sort of like it's just not working as a whole, right? Because the guy who came up with the beat wasn't thinking about what the lyrics were going to be or what the melody was going to be. So how does that affect the overall music?
How does what affect it?
The fact that you're creating the beats and the music all at the same time.
I've always worked like that, right? But when I met her, I thought, what an amazing vocalist, but she was limited to the sort of beats that the producers would make for her, and she had to write to that, you know. And I thought, well, if you learn to play an instrument, you could compose and have the guy make the beat around what you're doing, you know, the producer make the beat around. But now we're just composing together and making the beat ourselves and making the whole thing ourselves. It's like, we're really learning a lot. I started working on a record years ago, and I ended up finishing it because I was younger, you know, and I didn't have the budget. It was budget reasons, and plus I didn't want to force it because I was playing all the instruments as well back then in the studio, and kind of ran out of money, and didn't want to force it because I didn't want to be unhappy with the final project. And I mean, she's released a mixtape, and I've released like little things, like a little DVD, Live at Harlem, but we realize now that the reason all of that happened was because our first record was supposed to be the one that we make together in this project.
So how did you guys meet? How did you guys meet?
I met him at a gig, actually. He was playing somewhere in Oshawa, and I just happened to be there on a date, I think. So I was like, wait a minute, let's stick around and listen to this guy.
Yeah.
And I had a couple drinks, you know, so I was very brave, and I just went out there and sang with him, and that's kind of how it started.
Yeah.
So right now we're mainly an acoustic duo. Sometimes I play guitar as well in our shows, but as far as your band question, we do have a total, like a 5-piece band, sometimes 6-piece band that we perform with if budget allows, or if the venue allows, you know, the space.
Would you guys ever consider going on tour?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's definitely in the very near future. We tried to go on a few tours ourselves, you know, like to Montreal and where else did we go?
When we've been to Montreal, I went to New York.
We actually just got back from China. We were in China for a while. I was over there with a band doing, you know, the whole cover scene over there. Right. And it was a great experience, and he decided to come visit me for a couple months.
Yeah, she was there for a year, right? And they did Vietnam and Thailand, and then the last leg of it was in Beijing. So I went to Beijing for the first time. It was a crazy experience. They love me.
What is that like? Like compared to performing in Toronto, what is it like being in China?
Well, they're very enthusiastic about music. They just love it, and they love
appreciative.
They're more open-minded too.
Oh yeah.
They love North American music, really. Yeah. You know, I was kind of hoping to see more of their culture, really, but
right.
I mean, there were some spots because we were adventurous in that we went around and sort of
the outskirts.
Yeah, but in the city, I mean, they're very influenced by North America, right? So
well, I'm sure. Yeah, it sounds like they really appreciate the North American music, whereas we're saturated with it here, right? Yeah. Like we're sick of it.
I just wanted to ask, when you go to somewhere like China and you hear their music and you take in their culture, do you find that you're writing different, like you're really inspired just from that one visit?
Well, I wanted to hear more of their music and experience more of their culture, but in the city we didn't really get to do that much, you know, because the culture it's kind of changed. You know, I was walking around and I ended up the agent that I was working with for the band I was playing around the city with. I was asking her why. In my mind, I thought China was a lot different, you know. And I was like, wow, they dress just the same and everything. And I'm like, how come I don't see anybody with like sort of traditional Chinese clothes and stuff? You know what I mean? However, there was this one club called Nine Dynasty. It was a hotel that I was playing, and they had some Asian music going on there. Music happening there, and these two girls would come on, and we would play a set, and then they'd come on the break, and they would do this sort of dance routine. These two of them, and it's more like sort of poses that they would do, and they would transform into another pose, and it was very stagnant. They would just like,
and they were all wearing white masks and all white.
It was
flowy clothes.
It was very it was. Cool. I was inspired by that. I would just sit there on my break, you know, and like have a smoke and just check this out, and the music was. It was like very minimal.
It was like drops, like
it was very minimal. Yeah, there was like drops, and there was a lot of breaths, like breathing, and like, and just like pauses and stuff. You know?
And they would react.
Yeah.
Like to the drops, and
it was that's so cool.
It was very emotional, you know, like a release almost. Just watching them, but they do it every night, but you'd still get the same sense of it, the same essence.
Yeah, because like. I was wondering, like, I mean, I was kind of disappointed. I was like, man, I came all the way to China, and it's the same kind of music that we're doing, you know, but we really wanted to, I mean, I met some interesting stuff. I met a Chinaman who played the best bagpipes I've ever heard, you know, and spoke with the most potent British accent, you know, because he learned to speak English from a British guy, right? And, but that kind of style with the breathing,
as far as it relates to our music,
like the influence we've taken from that was we were talking about like climax in music, like climax in a song or climax. You know, people tend to think like it has to be heavy, like that's the climax. You have to like really give it, but sometimes climax could be like just stop. There's a space, you know, just stop. You know what I mean? And like just
an elevation,
and then you know it's kind of like when you're like running, and then you dive and you jump off a cliff. At that moment, it's just like. Silent, you know, but that's the climax, right? So that's kind of like our record. We want our record to have a climax. We haven't gotten there yet. Like
we're definitely planning on taking some of those influences and infusing it into our sound.
So when you talk about a climax on the record, it's like every song has to have its dynamic, its story, its lead up, its climax.
Every song has a mini orgasm, and then there's a big orgasm.
And the songs together on the album, do it on a larger scale,
right? Because it's sort of a love making concept, the whole record, you know. Which is interesting because my solo stuff, my material that I write on my own has always been more rebellious and more conscious, I guess, and I call it revolutionary soul. Actually, she came up with the name, you know, and her stuff is more expressive sense. You know, she writes more about. What would you say? Like just more heavier content,
experience, and
the individual,
like a feeling and expression, not necessarily of my own.
Well, we've never really written love songs, but for some reason, when we collaborate together, when we write songs together, ain't nothing but love songs happening, you know. But sort of intuitive love songs,
and
nice.
Most of these songs we wrote about 3 years ago. That's finally. Getting life into them now, you know, after.
Now, what does that mean? Life in the fact that you're getting them down in the studio.
And we're happy with the production. Like we wouldn't want to produce them if it wasn't going to be, you know, we'd just play them acoustic until we could produce them just right.
Well, you talk about in the studio, you know, having the money. That means you're in a pro studio. You're working with super pro gear. Like. Do you feel you need to do that these days? I mean, because people are doing it on their, you know, almost anybody can do something on their computer. Right?
It's not really our strong. It's not really my strong point. It's kind of funny because I bought a bunch of my own recording gear a few years back. You know, invested a lot of money on buying all this recording gear
and that we could do it ourselves.
And you know, realized very quickly that wasn't my trade to be an engineer. You know, so my producer now is kind of funny. Like to pay for the last 2 tracks that we're just working on right now in the studio, I'm trading my gear, the recording gear that I bought because he just finished school and he's getting into the recording industry, but he spent all his money to go to school, but he needs gear, so it's kind of worked out perfectly. I gave him all my mics that I didn't really use them much. I didn't really know how to use them properly, you know.
It's definitely an art form.
Yeah, and my interface, I gave that to him. So he was like, "Hey, what can we get?" We were just like literally taking the train to the studio with gear, and like, how much studio time can we get for this? You know, like.
That's good. That's great.
You gotta. It's a hustle, right? You gotta do something.
For real.
Tamson? Sorry, guys, I'm always just popping
Go
in.
for it, Dee. That's what you're here for.
From you, Dee.
Here I am. I just wanted to ask Tamson, how do you feel learning to play a new instrument and now you can bring that into your songs? And just how does it make you feel as a person?
I feel very honored almost, you know, because I just knew myself to be a singer. You know, I always felt like I'm a singer, and for Gibran to see more in me, it was just I just felt compelled. I said, okay, I just have to do this, you know. And his teaching style, I mean, he wasn't trained other than, you know, just by his father and from other influences, so he didn't have the schooling skills, you know.
Right.
So his way of teaching me was very unique in the sense that he just, you know, he took me to Long and McQuaid. He said, go pick out a guitar, and
but I had the staff kind of like watching over her to make sure like she picked up like a piece of junk or something. Like they would, you know, the girl came running out, okay, she's holding something that, you know,
don't let her
like,
get
don't
that.
let her take that one. Like, you know what I mean? So because I wanted it to be her choice, you know. I mean, I don't really teach, you know, but I found like it was, because artists, we don't really have a lot of time to invest on like other artists to per se like help. Because you're so involved in your own world, it's a full-time thing to be an artist, right? But I thought, I don't know, there was something there, and like
he just taught me a few chords, like the basics, and then that's it.
I sort of like threw her in the pool in the deep end, you know, and then she had to learn to swim. But I kind of knew that if I would save her if she didn't learn to swim.
So basically, YouTube videos helped a lot, and just tabs, and you know.
Oh, right.
Honestly, a lot of my songs, I could not tell you the name of the chord. He can't even play them because it's foreign.
It's not a real chord.
Yeah.
He's just making it up.
Yeah. So I get so upset. I'm like, no, you gotta move your finger here. He's like, what chord is that? I don't know, but it sounds good.
No, but she that's amazing. She's great that way, you know. Like she can think outside of the box right away. Like she learned so fast, and if she heard a sound in her head, she just tried to make that sound. She didn't care what chord it was, you know.
It's almost better in a sense because sometimes if you get training, it narrows your options, or you know, you learn you're not supposed to do certain things, right?
Yeah.
And who taught them? How do we know for sure what's right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what, Gibran, it sounds like you didn't stop your art. You guys are on a journey now coming together, so it's just like the beginning of the new creation. Nothing, it's just starting.
Oh yeah. It's been an exciting journey, and I'm sure it's gonna, you know, be even more extravagant as we go along.
Well, you're in the middle of this this CD that you're putting out, and it sounds like you're taking the time and spending the energy to make sure it's done right.
What's the name of the album going to be called?
We're not sure yet, because we're debating on two titles right now. We're thinking, because we're calling the project Steam. The album might be Steam, but we're thinking now it could be Emanation.
Well, plus you might not know until it's done.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
Because you haven't even finished writing all the songs.
Yeah.
Right?
How many tracks you're putting on?
We're planning for 10.
Yeah.
The history behind the word steam is Gibran is a water sign and I'm a fire sign, you know. So if you bring that together, I guess fire, water, steam is how it started. So we stuck with that.
Because those signs aren't supposed to work together so great.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, so we decided to put some type of positive spin on it. You know,
we wrote. We were reading about the signs and stuff, how they go together, and that when we were thinking about that, you know, and it was disaster. It was like should not go together, you know.
And it can be at times.
Yeah. But I think it's great. I mean, we can water and fire makes good tea.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go. And I love tea, so.
So you're a trained vocalist.
I'm not a. He thinks I'm a trained vocalist. I'm not a trained vocalist.
I think so. Yeah.
I just took vocal classes in
Who'd you
high
study
school.
with?
I didn't study with anyone. I
You
just
haven't had formal training in terms outside of school.
Right.
Well, she went to school for acting. Right?
High school, I didn't take.
What school did you go to? In terms of acting.
Acting, I went to York University.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay. I graduated from the Acting Conservatory in 2008.
Congratulations.
So when did you decide you wanted to be a singer more than an actor?
You know what? I don't even know how it happened. I didn't realize I could really sing until maybe 19 or 20.
Yeah.
I just assumed that everybody sang.
Uh-huh.
And I did too, you know?
Yeah.
And I just noticed from going to open mics or karaoke that, wait a minute, I think I'm kind of good a little bit, you know? Just judging from the response. And so from there, I started recording while I was still at university. But I actually took a year off to explore it a little more. Went back to acting and decided music was my calling for now. Mm-hmm. But the acting will always be there. It's definitely a passion.
So what's the plan once this record is finished? What do you guys plan to do with it?
Well, the plan is just to finish the record first, you know. Well, like Tam was saying before, we definitely want to. We're thinking we want to go to Europe next. You know, we haven't been to that continent yet. You know.
So that's like management.
No, we're also at the point where we need management too.
Yeah, we're at the point where we have pushed.
We've done pretty much everything. Well, maybe not, but we've done a lot that an independent artist can do. We're at the point where we could probably use some help now. You know.
All right, are you willing to sell your souls?
No.
To the Illuminati, right?
Apparently that's what it takes, from what I hear.
That's a whole scary
Yeah, there's a lot of scary stories like that and stuff now, you know. But I think it's important for artists to be more powerful and to be...
and stay true to themselves.
Yeah, and to be more bold in the industry because, the young generation are the ones that are going to be taking over eventually. And, I was afraid of it at one point. I remember being afraid of it, you know, when I got back from Asia, and she was still in Asia, finishing off her tour, and I got home and I was just pacing around my apartment, kind of freaking out, you know, because I had canceled a lot of gigs and stuff to go to Asia, right? And when I got back, I was kind of on in limbo, okay, I'm gonna go play again, you know, should I call the clubs, let them know I'm back in town, whatever. But I remember, being exposed to a lot of that, people telling me about this whole thing with the industry and whatever, and kind of being afraid of it. But
especially in researching, you know,
but now
you click on some links that you're like, I don't think I should have watched that.
Really?
Yeah.
I think we made a personal decision to be fearless and to be bold in that way, you know, because fear, the fear alone is it's no point. Fear and worry is
But what was the fear exactly?
Well, for me, I think the fear was I wanted to be the people that care about me, you know, my family and Tamson Lee and my circle of people that care about me. You know, I realized that they would be greatly hurt if something should happen to me, you know. So I think that was the more profound fear of it for me, in the sense that.
But why would you be thinking that something might happen to you, or what?
Because I don't really play nice, you know. If I was in the industry, I'm very stubborn with certain things, and I don't play nice. if it's something I don't agree with, you know. Yeah.
So you're not willing to compromise.
Right.
Not in that sense, you know.
Good.
Yeah.
And as far as management goes, we just haven't found that relationship with someone that we fully trust yet, you know.
Well, it's like
we're hoping to go there.
When you talk about your relationship with your producer, it's like you have
yes.
to have that chemistry, right? They're an essential part of your team, and the same thing goes for your management.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
what are you guys feeling? Oh, I'm sorry, honey. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
What are you feeling about the producer? What was it about the producer that really connected you guys? What is it that makes them so different?
Jeff?
Because Jeff has been my drummer for a long time, you know, and after I found out he was an artist as well, and I heard his music. She's a big fan of his music, his solo stuff that he has. But he's not so much interested in like releasing albums and stuff. He's more so interested in just making music and producing music and sort of being on the behind the scenes kind of thing. And but the first track, like he called me when I got back from Asia, and he said, "You want to come in?" He's at Terra Music, and he's got a final project to do for his class, you know, to submit, and he gets to record an artist and produce a track and for his
start to finish.
He passed. So yeah, he called me in, and I was gonna go lay down one of my own songs, one of my solo numbers, and she had gotten back from Asia the same week, and I was like, you know what, like. Remember that song, AKA The Brightest? I mean, we wrote that song 2.5 years ago at High Park together. We're just hanging out, like kind of picnicking, and just. So we went in, and like it was so easy, you know. It was so easy.
He's very patient.
Yeah, and he's very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can communicate with him.
So you give an inkling of an idea, and he gets it and puts it out there.
At one point, I remember I was in there, and there was one part in the beat in the song where like it was kind of a breakdown. I was like, can you make it sound like it's over there in the next room kind of thing, you know, like sort of when you go to a club or something, and then you're outside of a club, and then somebody opens the door, and then you hear like this burst of music because it's coming at you, but then they close the door again, and you just hear like in the background like boomy like right. So that's how I explained it to him, and like he just did one thing, and it sounded exactly like that. I was like, whoa, you know, if it was any other producer, we'd be there for hours trying to figure that out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey guys, do you want to hear some songs? I'm over here in Georgian Bay. I want to hear some Gibran and
we only have one more song left, so
that's perfect.
You guys can
that's great.
play Naked. That we just finished that one. It sounds good, man.
That's the one we got, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's. But we're gonna go out with that. So let's just make sure we're just about out of time anyway. But anyway, great to meet you, guys. Great to hear the story.
Thanks for having us.
And we look forward to the CD. When do you think it'll be out?
We're aiming for the summer of 2013, so
to actually release it. Yeah.
Wow,
we're
hoping a while, eh?
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping before, but you know how sometimes things get pushed back. So the latest I want it to be done is
well, we don't get the we don't know if we get the grant until September. So, but we're still gonna record through the summer.
You guys gonna continue to record?
Yeah.
Even if you don't get the grant.
Yeah. That's the plan. Yeah. I guess we're gonna just have.
Would you guys be willing to perform in the meantime and can do live shows too?
Constantly. We have to.
Tell them what we're doing.
Do you guys have any dates coming up?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we're doing a concert in July 21st
in Oshawa.
Yeah, that we're putting together ourselves with some help from our family and stuff. It's called Summer Celebration.
Summer Music Celebration.
Yeah. That's great. We brought some other local artists to open for us, and
Sasha Visagi, Jared.
Yeah, the tickets are $30. Is that the Harmony Creek?
It's at Harmony
Community
Creek.
Center.
Yeah, in Oshawa.
Harmony. What is that?
Harmony Creek
Park.
Community Center.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's July 21st.
July 21st is Saturday, and it's going to be delicious food. I'm South African background. He's Guyanese background. So our parents, our mothers,
they're going to cook
up a
food.
storm.
Yeah, so the tickets are $30, and it's like dinner and concert and a party after.
Yeah.
You can't
DJ
you
band.
can't miss with that.
No, definitely not.
You guys gonna have a live band with you guys?
Yeah, we're gonna bring our band out with us, and they still have to learn these songs that we're doing right now.
So there's July 21st. There's August 4th at Harlem, here in Toronto. Then August 5th for Irie Fest, we're at Dundas Square. We're not sure of the time yet, but I'm sure if you go on our website or Facebook.
Yeah, people are going to want to go for the whole festival anyway, right?
So
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, but we play a lot, man. Like tonight, when we leave here, we're going to Ajax. We're playing on a patio, you know, and we'll play this weekend. Like tomorrow, where are we tomorrow?
Harvard.
The Harvard Blues.
Oh no, Tudor Rose and Harvard Blues on Saturday.
We had like 3 clubs this weekend.
Is that here? Is that in Toronto?
In Ajax.
I had no idea there was so much going on out there in Ajax.
In Durham?
Well, you got to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of clubs out there to play, huh?
Yeah.
Did you guys do mostly original material? Or do both covers?
We tried to, but right now the cover gigs pay the bills more.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard. It's difficult for me personally as an artist because I really want to play my own material. I don't feel like an artist until I'm playing my own material. Although we don't really play we do our own rendition of covers, you know.
It always sounds better the original though because it's coming from your heart, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So.
And it feels so good to be able to share that with people.
Absolutely.
you know.
I know exactly.
All right, guys. Well, great to meet you. We want to have you back when the album comes out.
Absolutely.
Where can people get and stay in touch with you, find out about all the gigs and all that kind of stuff? Is there a website? Or
you can find us on Facebook at Gib and Tam, Gib and Tam. There's also...
It's just like GibranPlaysNT.com. You can go to that.
Is that a website?
Yeah.
We're working on it right now.
Right now, if you go to GibranPlaysNT.com, it brings you to our Sonic Bids website.
Okay.
Has,
yeah. All of that is still in the works. You know, I've been out of the country for... Yeah, you can have that for sure.
All right, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Great to do this. We're gonna put it in the credits, Carlos, and
your email here?
we can talk.
Email's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, now we get a chance to hear the track. Is this completely finished and produced? Done?
Yeah, it's not mastered yet.
Okay.
Though, yeah. But it's mixed. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thanks.
Naked.
Great to meet you guys. Naked, Gibran and Tamson Lee, and we're gonna come back. Shawn Dalton is up next, and Liquid Lunch continues. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
That's great.
Thank you.
I'm naked with you. I'm shaking, it's true. I need something to hold on to. My knees get weak and I'm ready to I live with you, just stay with you. My heart is beating the whole way through. I get scared, but I'm risking it all. Oh, and I can't contain it, explain it, it's crazy being with you. You know I crave it, I need it, believe it, baby, it's true. Oh, 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 oh. And I'm breaking through these walls, baby, I'm tearing them down. I'll fly off the ground, and I'm rushing home to the arms of love, yeah, to the arms of love, baby, to the arms of love. And I'm naked. Naked with you. Said I'm naked, oh baby, and I'm ready for this love. Oh, 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 I'm ready for this love. Oh, oh,
And welcome back to Liquid Lunch. We're hitting the home stretch here. We got D up there on Georgian Bay. D, I shouldn't give it away, right? But anyway, and we got Shawn Dalton here back on that channel. Shawn, great to have you on the show. And
thanks.
If you want to pull that mic back so you don't have to lean in, that's great too.
Welcome, Shawn.
Hi, D. How's it going?
It's going good. How are you doing?
Good. Just been doing a lot of reading, and it's pretty much my life these days.
A lot of reading. What are you reading?
Reading a book called The Northern Mangus, biography of Pierre Trudeau.
Yeah. Yeah, the Northern Magus. I've
By
heard of that
Richard
book.
Gwynn. Yeah.
Richard Gwynn. That
right.
we all know that guy, Richard Gwynn. So, what are we talking about today, Shawn? It's always about something related to immigration. I know that's a big topic, and
yeah, these are going to be about some controversial articles that I've found in 2 newspapers that I read religiously on a weekly basis.
Okay.
One's called the South Asian Times Generation Next.
Okay.
Right? And this one's called the Weekly Voice newspaper. They're both South Asian newspapers, but they're written in English, so anyone who picks it up can understand it.
Right. Well, also, that's the language of South Asia, pretty much, is English.
That's true, but the difference between these 2 papers and the Toronto Star, the Globe and Mail, and the National Post is that they have editors, and they make sure articles like this will get screened and summarized so that,
what do you mean, the big papers?
Yeah, like editors? they've got a sense of integrity when it comes to the style that it's written in. It's usually mature.
I'll tell you. I know I used to publish a paper myself, and I know it's difficult when you're trying to do something with maybe not as much resources as the Globe and Mail and the Toronto Star can provide. But so, what have you discovered, Shawn?
First of all, I would just like to read a section from this book. I read a section from it last time.
No, this book is
Trudeau's Shadow: The Life and Legacy of Pierre-Elliott Trudeau.
Okay.
Okay, and this will help people understand maybe why this stuff is being written. I think that it kind of explains it. Okay. This gentleman's name is Michael Beelhees. He's a professor in the Department of History at the University of Ottawa, who specializes in Canadian Quebec political history in the 20th century. He wrote a chapter called Who Speaks for Canada, Trudeau and the Constitutional Crisis. That's the chapter that he contributed to this book.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, so I'm going to read a little bit if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Okay,
please.
thank you kindly. Indeed, if the theory and practice of collective rights prevailed over individual rights, Canadians would find themselves facing a dictatorship, which arranges citizens in a hierarchy according to their beliefs. Charlottetown's ominous interpretive Canada Clause turned the 1982 Charter on its head by creating a hierarchy of collective rights. At the top of the poll, thanks to the Distinct Society Clause, was the Franco-Quebec community that had at its disposal a legislature and a government to preserve and protect it. Next came the Aboriginal people of Canada with their vaguely defined third order of discretionary non-democratic ethnic governments, empowered to promote Aboriginal language, cultures, and traditions. Under the third category, Canadians and their government were only, quote, committed, in the French version of Bourassa, insisted that the weaker term attachment be used to the vitality and development of the official language minority communities. Such language ensured that provincial rights would always trump minority rights in disputes before the Supreme Court. The court, I don't know if you guys heard of the Ezra Levant case, where...
Well, we know about Ezra Levant.
Yeah, he was dragged in front of the human rights courts for just simply drawing a caricature, or reprinting it. Sorry, because it was a major story. So he had to pay over $100,000 to defend himself against the group rights, human rights commissions, and that's pretty much what it does. So that reminded me of something like that. The court-enforceable equality rights of the Charter, in Trudeau's view, were weakened considerably by the Canada Clause, which merely required a vague, redundant commitment by Canadians to racial and ethnic equality, quote, a respect for individual and collective human rights and freedoms and the equality of female and male persons. Well, the clause stipulated that, quote, Canada is a democracy committed to a parliamentary and federal system of government and to the rule of law, end quote. Trudeau reminded Canadians that Aboriginal governments could replace parliamentary democracy with non-elected traditional forms of government. Furthermore, while the clause confirmed the principle of the equality of the provinces, it was clear that Quebec was more equal than the others. And it's been treated more equal over the last couple of decades. Quebec's always
Why is that? Why is that, Shawn?
Because Quebec has always managed to get a leader from their province into one of, like, the Liberal Party and influence the electorate, like Trudeau, Chrétien. There's one now for the NDP, Thomas Mulcair. He was the environment minister for the Quebec City Liberals. So they're very good at stacking the deck in their favor. And for the first time in history, you have a leader of Canada who is not French and not a lawyer. He's an economist, So that's a different reality for Quebec. So Quebec's not going to get everything it always wanted. So that's a different...
Well, it's a complicated problem. It's like, do we want to have a country from coast to coast, including Quebec? If we do, we may have to, constantly keep that negotiation going. Otherwise, if we draw a line and they want to exit the country, we're going to lose the country that we love.
I'm personally sick of it. I can speak French and English fluently. I think they should learn English since I'm willing to learn their language.
Well,
and
then
it's got to be an equal relationship.
It just seems to me that if that attitude becomes too prevalent, Shawn, that we might lose the Canada that we've grown up with.
Well, I've talked to people in the street and they're sick of it too. So I've put out feelers. I've talked to people on the subway and bus, and
certainly not all Canadians.
They kind of react that way. So I'm taking my marching orders from the public too. Like I've kind of formed my opinion based around the feedback I've been getting.
What are your feelers, Shawn? What are you doing out there?
I'm like, I walk up to people. I'm like, excuse me, how's it going? They're like, fine. I'm like, how do you feel about Quebec and the protests and all their complaining and things like that? And they're like, well, if Quebec wants to separate, then we're just kind of Canadians just feel like they're too tired. This has been a long battle between English.
I don't think most people most Canadians feel that way. I think most Canadians really want to see the country from coast to coast, and we want Quebec to be happy in the country. You know,
they've got to want to be happy too, though. There's 2,500 people in the street, and they're protesting, and they're angry.
Well, they're protesting something that, in a sense, has nothing to do with the country or French or English. They're protesting tuition hikes.
Yeah, and they have one of the lowest tuitions in the country. It's
and maybe we should have low tuitions across the country.
We're paying $5,000 to $6,000, and they're paying $2,300.
Maybe we should have maybe every person who's got the brains and who wants to go to post-secondary education should be allowed to do that.
It's possible too.
Now you're talking, Hugh.
Because then we would be able to educate the country. We'd be able to have an educated workforce that is the true wealth of the country, right? If we have an educated population, that's true wealth. That's true potential for economic growth.
Depends how they use the education, but I agree if that educated people make better decisions. Not only mentioned, but clearly at the very bottom of this hierarchy were ordinary Canadians, the quote little people, as Trudeau sarcastically reminded his audience. Invariably, the courts would be clogged trying to sort out intermediate conflicts between these compelling collective rights and commitments. So that's from that chapter.
Well, one thing I'm going to agree with you there, maybe more than one, but is this idea of collectivism versus individualism. It seems to me that is a real danger when we start to be so collectivist that the state starts to have more rights than individuals.
Yeah, or groups of people make special rights, and then everyone demands their own special rights, and it causes segregation. I have here a series of articles written in these two newspapers, which are really surprising because I wouldn't expect this kind of stuff to appear in any newspaper whatsoever, but it did. So I collected enough of it so that...
okay, so what paper is this from that you're going to read us something? And what are you saying? You're saying this is...
from the South Asian...
Well, wait, before we make a comment about it, let's just read it and then let people think about what they think it might mean.
Okay, so you want me to just read it? And
yeah, well, what paper is it from, first of all?
From the South Asian Times.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
Okay. So Pooja Verma graduated from the Schultz School of Business at York University and then attended law school at the University of Western Ontario. She practices banking and securities law at Macmillan, a Bay Street law firm. And this is what she had to say about Canada. Quote, I grew up here, so it's hard for somebody that's grown up in Canada to live in India. But I like India because of my family. All my extended family is there. For me, that's in a sense home. If I don't continuously go there, I miss it. You know, she's successful, she's making good money on Bay Street, but she has to constantly go to India in order to find herself again.
Well, she's got her family there by the sound of it, and hey, I miss, what do I miss? I miss Paris.
Oh, I gotta go there.
Okay.
Okay, I have another example. Anu Midhat, she works for a government welcome center, like for newcomers in Brampton. And here was her explanation, why she goes back to India regularly. Quote, is to find myself, really. As for my children, this journey back is an opportunity to know the existence of other lifestyles and people besides North Americans. Moving forward in their life, it's important for children to have a sound understanding and foundation of who they are and where they come from, and to be able to include a sense of diversity and tolerance in their roots, and to be able to include in their concept of, quote, home, another place besides Canada. In other words, not Canada, India. So, and she was complaining throughout the article how when she came here there was just contract jobs and there was nothing for them, and they were told before they came here, oh, there's good paying jobs, Canada's the land of milk and honey.
Well, we've talked about that before, how a false impression is being created to potential immigrants, that they are sold this idea that this is a land of milk and honey, and we know that it's not just new Canadians, but all Canadians that are having difficulty finding those decent paying jobs.
Well, in any recession, it's hard for people in the job market because there's a contraction, right?
It seems to me though that this recession has been long term. Really, things are ups and downs, but the long term trend since probably the 60s or the 70s has been down. In other words, it's harder to get a job. It's harder to get a decent paying job.
What about equal opportunities, Shawn? Like, what are they telling them? Yes, there's a job, and then they get all the way here, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I lied." Like, what are they saying?
Their credentials aren't recognized, or the job market's flooded with professionals already, or companies are overwhelmed with resumes. Like, they get.
So where do they go? Like, they've got an apartment now, and they thought they had a job on Monday, and on Tuesday they're. Like, what are they doing?
There's an article that was written 2 weeks ago in the South Asian Times paper, and it said that there's 200 taxi cab drivers who were former doctors in Southeast Asia. So, like, they take what they can get,
sure,
and that depresses the local labor markets because it.
So they're hustling when they get here.
They are, and they don't want.
Forced to it.
And they're kind of forced into it. Like, they already sold everything they have to come here, and they were already.
Wow.
And you have to look at the system as basically broken. Like, that's not the way the system's supposed to do. It's supposed to take in a small amount of people under the point system so that the labor market can absorb them, so that if they want to work, they can make decent money and have time.
Well, their families can sponsor them if they can afford to keep them well.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting, though, Shawn, I think I mentioned it to you before the show, but there was this big special on CNN within the last week, hosted by Fareed Zakaria. Yeah, and he was talking about basically the whole immigration in the U.S., particularly the audience was the U.S., and the whole idea of the article was to try to convince Americans that they need to increase immigration to solve the problems, and they cited Canada as a model of getting immigration right.
A lot of people cite Canada as a model, but if you look at what's happening in Europe, they've failed to provide cultural capital to new citizens of the countries in the Eurozone, has caused the right-wing parties, which have been on the sidelines for decades, to rise to prominence. So citizens are doing it to protect their own culture. They feel like it's no longer their country. They're surrounded by people who live life completely differently.
Well, I think it is a different situation in Europe in the sense that those cultures, those European cultures that are there, have been around for thousands of years.
Right, but Canada's has been around 140 years, and that's still a pretty long time for.
True, but we are, no matter what anybody says, we are a nation of immigrants, and we've had to deal, in a sense, with a I'll just put the tag on it, multicultural situation from the beginning, when we had Europeans coming here and living with and beside native peoples that were native to this land. And then, of course, that immigration has been opened up to ever wider different ethnic groups from all around the world.
Trudeau's 70s policies.
Well, even earlier on, of course, the first immigrants were all French, and then they were English, and then they were Scottish, and then they were Irish, and then they were Eastern European, and now they're from all over the world, right? Mm-hmm. So, I just think that it's kind of like, the next group of immigrants will probably be aliens, stranded aliens, just like in that movie Alien Nation, right, Dee?
You're ahead of you, Hugh. I've got the best view, and let me tell you, they're coming.
Okay, Shawn.
Okay.
Back to your point, because we are concerned about the immigration issue. Here's Fareed Zakaria on CNN saying Canada's doing a great job, and yet, as you just mentioned, we've got doctors and lawyers driving cabs in Toronto, and we got a lot of people, new Canadians, that are feeling not so great about their new country, and that's got to be a recipe for disaster.
It is. It creates a lot of social friction. Here's another article from the South Asian Times. This article was entitled "Who We Are." It was published by Mr. Akbar Hussain of Toronto on January 12, 2012. And he wrote this, quote, "Many years ago, while visiting Amsterdam, I saw a very old white lady pushing a shopping cart trying to cross the street. I offered to help and push the cart across the street. She said thanks and asked, 'Are you from India?' I agreed. In a social function, when I told the incident, many of my friends objected to my assertion that I identified myself as Indian. My position is very clear in this respect, since my ancestry is Indian, my features are Indian, my language is Indian, and my food is Indian, my culture is Indian, my history is Indian, my philosophy is Indian, and the whole world recognizes me as a person of Indian origin until I show them my passport." And I wrote in an unedited version of my book, Mr. Akbar Hussain has reverse assimilated. He was born in Canada, but seems ashamed of it. It's impossible that his language could be Indian. Indian is an ethnicity, not a language. In India, people don't speak Indian. They speak Hindi, Punjabi, and even English. People in Pakistan don't speak Pakistani. They communicate in Urdu and Bengali. And they actually had a civil war because of those two languages. Pakistan declared Urdu the main language, and the people who spoke Bengali were like, well, what about us? And they rose in revolt, and a million of them died in the ensuing bloodshed, but they did get their own country, and they can today speak Bengali freely.
Is that Bangladesh?
It's Bangladesh, absolutely, and that's why they wear that clothing, the colors. It symbolizes the sorrow that people had to fight in order to defend the only culture and language that they knew. So that's why language defines culture, because it's all people know, And
well, don't forget Pakistan, East and West, which became Pakistan and Bangladesh. Really, that country arose as a line that Mountbatten drew simply to demarcate the areas that were majority Muslim from the areas that were majority Hindu.
So to segregate it, right?
To segregate it. It was a line that a British guy drew on a map that caused millions and millions of deaths in the strife that followed. So just to point that out.
Okay.
So, so Bangladesh, and they were separated geographically anyway. Right?
If we take it way back, way back, I think we all spoke the same language, so I've read. And
which was Hungarian.
That's what makes us so unique, and I love the cultures. I love that when I come up here in Georgian Bay, I see every type of person. When I come to Toronto, every type of person, New York, wherever I've been. So that's just the way it is, and someone's always going to complain or look for something to nitpick at, and that's what we just have to accept.
But
I have a question off topic. I wondered if the Trudeau family gets royalties every time a new book is made about him.
That's a good question. I doubt it, because it's a free country and you can write about whatever you want. That's just like if a book was written about Harper, would Harper get royalties? Or, Wayne Gretzky, would he get royalties? I guess it just depends on who writes it, but most likely it's the author and researcher. As long as they've cited their work correctly, they'll probably get all the profits. And plus the publishing industry who sponsors it, right?
Okay, so we are talking about immigration here, and we do, whether you want to call it, I'm just going to hang a handle on it and call it multicultural. It's a multicultural country. I don't think there's any going back from that. But the question is, how do we manage our immigration system so that we can continue to develop a country that's providing a decent social, economic, political environment for everybody that lives here?
We do it for economic reasons and not for partisan purposes. It's not fair to tell people certain realities about Canada, and then when they come here, they face different realities. And it also makes people who live here feel frustrated because they have to end up hearing about it. They end up meeting these people, and they hear about these complaints, and they're wondering, well, what's wrong with the government? Why are they creating this poverty? Why are there so many people living in Toronto public housing?
Right.
Why are so many?
What do you suggest, Shawn? What are some of your suggestions to maybe fix the problem or help it?
Gauge people for language ability and educational credentials. Harper went a step further, and he's gonna allow people to have a job offer. So that's new. I don't know how that's going to play out, but if you want to be compassionate and humanistic about it, that's probably the best way to do it.
It's a step.
Are you saying a job offer before they get to the country? Like they won't need this LMO, the labor market opinion?
Absolutely.
They can actually just get butts over here and start work on Monday.
In fact, they'll be able to decide based on that, with the wages and the salary, whether or not they'll even want to come here. So it'll give them the power to decide, well, is Canada going to be my new home? Because is it worth it to immigrate? And maybe the employer might have to pony up a premium to get them over here. Because I know when Canadians go overseas, usually the employer in Southeast Asia, like if you want to go teach English, I've had lots of friends who've gone and come back for a year or two.
Yes, me too. They loved it.
Yeah, they give them a premium to want to stay because so many of them don't want to. So they just want to go back for whatever reason it is. So they're trying to offer sweeteners. So, if you want to run it like a business, then you've got to pay people the most money possible. And that's what people want anyway. They don't want to be paid the least amount of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get an education, you want to sell it for the most you can in the labor market. It makes no sense to work for minimal amount of money if you can make the most.
No. Right.
Okay, Shawn, we've got a few more minutes here, but what other points or issues do you want to bring up here today?
Okay. I would like to read something that was written by a gentleman. Can I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where was it written? Just to give us some context.
This one was written in the South Asian Times paper as well.
Okay.
And the gentleman's name is Vasu Chalani, and he's a successful philanthropist and entrepreneur, and he's the founder of Canadian Fallen Soldier Foundation. This organization provides university scholarships to kids of deceased Canadian soldiers. So unlike the grumpy antics of Mr. Hussein, Mr. Chalani is a fully integrated Canadian citizen that fully appreciates empathy and the duties of citizenship. Because remember, you not only have rights as a Canadian, you have duties and responsibilities. That's what Harper's saying in the new citizenship guide. And I think it's about time that there's been more of a balance to just, Hotel Canada, as Jason Kenney called our country sarcastically.
Sure.
He was making fun of it, and because he knows people don't like the idea of Canada being a hotel. But
we don't.
So this is what he had to say. Quote, multiculturalism causes more problems than it solves. I like the American style. People do have their own cultures, but it's not advertised that much. It's not official or something like that. I think we have chosen this country as our country. We should not have too much of multiculturalism. And then he said, quote, this is the country I have chosen. This is my country now. I've spent 30 years here, and I've done very well, and I've done very well in this country. And he's also given back because he created the Fallen Soldier Foundation, which provides money to the deceased families of fallen Canadian soldiers, which is just brilliant. And then he says, as a matter of fact, I wish to die in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So
wow.
he's very patriotic. It caught my attention. I cut the article out. I thought, this is great. I wish I'd read more articles like this. It's just, they're few and far between. It's very rare to come across these things.
Yeah.
But when you do come across them, you feel like it still works. Like Canada still exists. Like people still find a way to figure it out and find out what Canada's all about through all the confusion and smoke and mirrors and all the things the government's doing to try to tell people, no, we don't have an identity, we don't have a, Canada, you could be anything and stuff like that, when in fact there's a core identity here, and people that find it are very empathetic and happy to have not only found it, but find a way to give back to it once they've taken what they can from it, and to take advantage of it, they share what they've, they give back to the system that gave to them.
And
now, if it could only help the Canadian music industry, we'd be set.
Well, yeah, Dee. But I also feel optimistic, Shawn, that most of the new Canadians actually do feel that way, and their offspring. And so I'm very hopeful that we can continue to build a great country here with a proper, well thought out, strategic, effective immigration strategy. And I hope that the Conservative government is taking steps in that direction. But I think we do need to keep our eye on it, no matter who the government is, and keep working in that direction.
You're right. It needs to. It's something that people can't just allow the government to. We have to be proactive on these issues and be aggressive and say, hey, you have to start talking about the history, the good and the bad of this country. We don't live over there anymore. We live here.
Yeah.
So learn about here. You've decided to come here. And there's got to be more of an effort for the school system to promote this kind of thing.
Well, I've heard a lot of great things from a lot of people in this studio, both new Canadians, first generation, second generation Canadians. So I remain optimistic. But it's great to see that you are keeping the attention on this issue as a citizen, and I think that the work that you're doing, getting the word out there, is going to keep the issue in the public eye. Because I don't think we can afford to just let the government do whatever they want. I think we need to be, as citizens, engaged in the process on this issue and on other issues.
For sure.
So thanks for doing this, Shawn. And now, I know you're writing on this. Is there a place, a blog, or anywhere on the internet where people can get and stay in touch with you?
No, it's just coming out as it comes out. The research has been organized into chapters, about 10 chapters, and I'm coming up with subheadings for each chapter, and that's the goal, to have 2 or 3 pages for each subheading, so about 20 pages a chapter, times 10 will be maybe a 200-page book. So that's the idea, and I'm working slowly towards accomplishing that goal.
All right.
And some of this material will be in it because it's so ridiculous that I can't help but make fun of it. I would never write articles like this from this perspective about other people. It's just it's not polite, and it's a disgrace. How people in the journalistic field can pump out this kind of stuff. It hurts,
Well, that's why we are able to write to the editors and let them know our opinion. So now, if people want to get in touch with you, Shawn, is there an email? If people want to get in touch with you and participate in the conversation?
Yeah, they can email me at shawn@endofees.ca.
Okay.
Or they can call me at 416-557-5666.
All right, 666.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's just a coincidence.
Not the end of the world, it's just the last 2 numbers of my phone number.
Signing off now. Bye-bye.
That's what Val gave me.
Okay, Shawn. All right.
Shawn,
Great to have you on the show.
Shawn.
All right, so that's it for
we gotta ask him something. Shawn, are you plugging Tim Hortons? Is that a raspberry smoothie, my friend, or what are you drinking?
It's a freshly squeezed strawberry banana smoothie from freshly squeezed at the Young and Eaton Center. I went there the day after the shooting and wasn't afraid. No problem, you know.
What are the chances of it happening the next day?
Yeah, exactly.
Shot. Keep it up.
All right, thanks.
All right, Dee, this is great. Thanks for doing this again today. I wish I was up there on Georgian Bay. What are you gonna do?
You gotta come up.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
We'll plan some things.
And you got to come down and jam with us one Friday night. So you got to let me know about that.
I will be.
All right. So, okay. So that's it for the show. Why don't we go with one of those Carlos Morgan tracks that we didn't play during the show? I don't know which one you got there, but great to see Carlos. Great show today. Great bunch of guests. Thanks everybody. So we'll see you tomorrow at noon for more Liquid Lunch right here on thatchannel.com.
All right.
In this case, it's divine wine. Take a taste, squeeze the grape, unwind your mind and enter this physical state. Increase your heart rate with words that I contain. Let this rhythm circulate and flow straight to the brain. When you're under restraint and you need to maintain, pop this tape into the deck and proceed to activate. I want what you got. Come on, come like that. Oh baby, I like what I see in you. You know this is right. I see you in the club, standing all alone. No, it looks so good to me. I wanna take you home. Then I look to see your girlfriends moving on the floor. Yeah, I try and find the courage so I can talk to you. I wanna know you. Oh yeah, there's something about you, girl, I really like. So let me take you home tonight. In your haste. No, no, no. But would you take the time to see how I can be? Girl, you're gonna wanna know me. Come on, like it. You know I like it, baby. You know this is mine. I said, don't try to fight it. Don't try to fight it. Whoa. Girl, don't think that I'm trying to get with you. I would like to be the one special just for you. So when I say I'd like to take you home with me tonight, oh, what I really mean to say is spending time.